Hi, this is Dr. Arijit Shah, Associate Professor of B.P. Poddar Institute of Management and Technology, Kolkata, India. Today, I will discuss about some basics of analog communication. The title of my lecture is Introduction to Analog Communication. In my lecture, I will cover overview of communication systems, elements of communication system, the frequencies required for any electronic communication, what are the mathematical models for communication channels, and some concepts of modulation and their needs. Now, in order to start with, let us first understand what is communication in a layman term. It is basically a technique of exchanging message information between source and destination. So when we want to be in the domain of electronic communication, everything should be electronic message, that is signal. The source will be such a system and the destination or the receiver will also be such a system. Now there are various forms of communications like telephone communication, television communication, radio, fax, email, to the very recent wireless mobile communication, satellite communication, etc. In 1844, the successful commissioning of telegraph link between Washington and Baltimore was done by Samuel Morse, and basically that was the start of first electrical communication. Gradually, in 1870, the invention of telephone by Alexander Graham Bell set up the first telephonic communication. Then came the new century, and 1901, that was the beginning of wireless communication using electromagnetic waves. It was demonstrated by Marconi. Then in 1906, the vacuum triode was invented by G. Forrest. In 1918, the first AM super heterodyne receiver was invented by Edwin Armstrong. In 1929, first television system was demonstrated by Zorikin in USA. In 1930, the FM was invented by Armstrong again. In 1965, first communication satellite Early Bird was launched. Now, the communication systems can be broadly classified into two types: analog communication systems and digital communication systems. What are the basic elements of a communication system? We can see over in the diagram that the first block is information source, which is basically generating the information. It can be in any form. So, in order to transmit it in electronic form, the transducer is needed, which will change any form of information into electrical message. Then comes the transmitter, which will transmit the message. Over what? Over a channel. Now that channel can be a free space channel, it can be optical fiber channel, it can be a coaxial cable, anything like that. And on the other end of the channel will be the receiver, which will receive that particular signal. Then that electronic signal has to be transformed again back into the original form, so a transducer is needed again. And finally, it will reach the destination. Now there you can see a noise and distortion is written in the channel. Why? Because when the signal is in the channel, there the noise might be added to that particular signal, and hence the signal might be distorted. In my previous slide, I have already mentioned this information source. It might be speech, it might be music, it might be image, a vast lot of things. Transducer, you all know, it will convert the information into electrical signal. Now the transmitter will modulate and transmit information bearing signal over the channel. The channel, it will carry output signal of the transmitter to the receiver. It might be wireless, it might be wired. Wireless, atmosphere and free space, ocean, water, etc. Wired may be coaxial cables, it might be twisted copper wires, waveguide, optical fiber, etc. A receiver that will recover the message signal from transmitted signal through the channel. We present here the electromagnetic spectra as defined by International Telecommunication Union, Telecom, ITUT. There are different types of frequency bands and they are used for different applications. You can find all of them within the table. Some important spectra are VLF or very low frequency, LF or low frequency, then comes the medium frequency MF, then it goes to high frequency HF, very high frequency VHF, ultra high frequency UHF, super high frequency SHF, extremely high frequency EHF. Finally comes the optical frequency or OF. All the detail is found in the table. We have already discussed about the channels. Different types of channels are there. But finally, when we want to estimate or want to design any system, then the channels has to be modeled. So it is convenient and appropriate to classify channels as linear and nonlinear channels, time invariant and time varying channels, bandwidth limited and power limited channels. Now, what is the telephone channel? It is linear but bandwidth limited. Similarly, a satellite channel can be classified as power limited channel. Mobile communication channel, which we are very much accustomed with nowadays, are time varying, whereas optical fiber channel, they are time invariant. That means they do not vary with time. And most commonly used communication channel classifications are additive Gaussian noise channel, AGNC, bandwidth limited linear channel, and linear time variant channel. In my previous slide, I have already mentioned additive Gaussian noise channel. What is that? It is the most extensively used channel model. The channel model you can see within the figure, the signal ST, then there is the factor alpha, which is the attenuation factor, which will be between 0 and 1, and it introduces additive noise, which is modeled as Gaussian, that is NT. Physically, NT arises from electronic components and amplifiers both at transmitter as well as the receiver. Now I come to the second one, that is bandwidth limited linear channel. Channel figure is again shown in the slide. A linear filter with HT as the impulse response of the filter is shown. So the filter ensures that transmitted signal do not exceed specified bandwidth limitation. And finally, what is the signal? Signal is the convolution between the signal input and the impulse response of the filter added with the noise. So it is given as ST convolved HT plus NT. Finally, the third type of channel, linear time variant channel. It is also shown in the figure. You can see that is also through a time variant filter, which has impulse response, which is a function of time also. And it is suitable for the case of physical channels such as underwater acoustic channels, some mobile communication channels, and ionospheric scatter radio channels. H of tau t is the impulse response of the channel and represents the output at time t. Here tau represents the age, that means elapsed time, and the final expression is shown. Now we want to define some terminologies. What is a baseband signal? Baseband signal is basically the message signal which is generated from the source. It might be continuous or it might be discrete. Preferred at low frequencies when a dedicated channel is available. Otherwise, baseband signal cannot be transmitted as it is. What is baseband transmission then? When the baseband signal is directly transmitted, that is called baseband transmission. What is bandpass signal? The modulated signals. They are basically the modulated signals. So, they are also known as passband signal. And bandpass transmission means that modulated signal is transmitted over the channel. Let us now formally define modulation. It is defined as the process by which one of the parameters, it might be amplitude or frequency or phase of a carrier signal, is varied in accordance with instantaneous value of message signal. Now modulation can be classified as continuous wave modulation, where a sinusoidal wave is used as the carrier, or it might be pulse wave modulation, where the carrier consists of a periodic sequence of rectangular pulses. What are the continuous wave modulation types? It might be analog modulation, it might be digital modulation. In analog modulation, there might be amplitude modulation or angle modulation. Amplitude modulation can again be classified into AM, DSB, that means double sideband modulation, SSB, single sideband modulation, and VSB, vestigial sideband modulation. And angle modulation can be classified into NBFM, narrowband frequency modulation, WBFM, wideband frequency modulation, NBPM, narrowband phase modulation, and WBPM, wideband phase modulation. What are the digital modulation types? They are basically keying types, like amplitude shift keying, ASK. It might be BASK or MASK, binary or M-array. Frequency shift keying, FSK. It might again be BFSK, MFSK or MSK. That means binary, M-array or minimum shift keying. It follows with phase shift keying, PSK. Again, it might be BPSK, binary phase shift keying, MPSK, M-array or QPSK, quadrature phase shift keying. Then there might be QAM, quadrature amplitude modulation, or OFDM. On the other hand, if we look at pulse wave modulation types, that can again be classified into two types, that is analog pulse modulation and digital pulse modulation. Analog pulse modulation can be pulse amplitude modulation or PAM, pulse duration modulation or PDM, pulse position modulation or PPM. Similarly, digital pulse modulation can be pulse code modulation, PCM, DPCM, differential, ADPCM or delta modulation. We have already mentioned about modulation, but why do we need modulation? Just we want to answer this in this slide. The first one is antenna size. What is rated? For efficient radiation, the size of antenna should be lambda by 10 or more, preferably around lambda by 4, where lambda is the wavelength of the signal to be radiated. Now, if we see that frequency of the signal is less, that means lambda is high, and so if we want to transmit a very low frequency signal, then the size of the antenna would be impractical. So for that, we want to translate the frequency of low frequency signal to a very high frequency carrier. So that for that, we require modulation. Then comes the channel selectivity. Each station can be assigned a suitable carrier so that the corresponding program material can be received by tuning to the station desired. That means a single channel over the air can be used for transmitting different programs by making modulation. Then multiplexing. Several message signals can be transmitted on a given channel by assigning each message signal to an appropriate slot in the channel. Finally, increasing signal strength, we can transmit low frequency signal over long distance. With this, we come to the end of this lecture. What we have learned is overview of communication, elements of communication system, frequencies required for communication, the mathematical models for communication channels, concept of modulation, and its needs. Thank you for your patience. Try to answer these questions. What is communication? What is the range of high frequencies? What are the radio signals composed of? What is the technique of recovering message signal from modulated signal called? What is frequency range of audio signal? What is the ideal frequency range of voice signal? And what is the range of ultra high frequency?